Welcome to the Business Men and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Alston, and it is once again my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am so excited again and again and again to have wonderful people on this podcast platform, particularly if they are a business corporate sponsor. And we have one here on this platform today who is working in the financial sector, particularly in the tax area. And I cannot wait to talk to her today. She is one of many people who have stepped up to the plate to support small businesses and authors by joining the movement to be part of the BMWC platform this year. And if you didn't get a chance to get on this bandwagon, don't worry, we're going to have this podcast season again in 2019, so look out for the call of speakers. Just in case you did not know, the purpose of the BMWC is to share our industry information, and we are encouraging you, the working professional, to look at the different lines of work and understand what's going on in the workplace and in your business. So in order to do that, you need to visit all of the pages and read their bios and listen to their podcast so you can get all of this wonderful information for free that is available to you on this platform. And be sure to reach out to our professionals for help. And if you are a business owner, make sure you reach out and network and collaborate. And most importantly, be a patron to our business, because we are in business to do business. Before we get started, we would like to take a moment to thank our corporate partners, who are Kat Serrano, LLC, Cheryl Wood Empowers, Concern and Learning, Evangelism Radio, Genesis Preferred Solutions, J Coach International, Nels Tax Help, My Financial Home, Power, STCI, and the Student Teacher, along with our other business affiliate partners and sponsors, and everyone who is supporting this event to make it successful. So I am going to get right into Dr. Cosette White's bio, and she is the founder and CEO of My Financial Home, and she is a BMWC corporate sponsor. Her enterprise is a global financial firm providing comprehensive tax accounting services and management financial services to businesses and individuals. She has a Master's of Business Administration degree from the University of La Verne and her Bachelor's of Science degree in accounting from the California State University. Later, she has went on to get her doctorate degree in philosophy of letters, and she is also involved in community as a member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and she's a member of the National Association of Black Accountants. So I want you guys to continue reading her bio because I think she's fabulous, and we're going to get right into the interview. Dr. White, how you doing?
Yes, I'm well. How about yourself?
Yes, I am well too. And you know what? I'm excited because I used to work for the National Black Accountants. I used to work for them in the Greenbelt, Maryland area, and I really loved working there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love NABA. That's what it stands for, you all, NABA.
Mm-hmm.
I got a scholarship from them when I was an undergraduate, so that's how I learned all about them, and great organization, great
Oh
organization.
yeah, definitely great for sure. That was my first time working for a nonprofit, way back when, probably like the late '90s, when I was there as an executive assistant, even before I became in IT, and I just loved everything that they stood for. And that was kind of like my moment to say, you know what, I want to do stuff like that in my future. And who knew, today what I'll do now. So it's really nice
Right.
to see that, hey, we got a fella NABA in the house.
Right.
All right. So let's talk about who you are, introduce yourself, and talk about, your history and how you got into financial management and tax strategies.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, as she said, I'm Dr. Cosette M. White. I am the president and CEO of My Financial Home. We are a global financial firm. We provide accounting services such as financial planning, taxation. We also assist on the personal finance side. We have a financial fitness boot camp. We have debt elimination. We have courses for our youth that are very popular. We call it Money, Mommy, and Me. And we also have a CEO mastery course for our small business owners. So we're all about helping individuals grow their money, helping individuals maximize that bottom line, the income, and look at the numbers strategically and see where they're leaving money on the table. How did I get started? Funny story. As we talk about NABA and accounting, I had an instructor back in junior high school, or excuse me, in high school, and I was that student that was kind of on the border, on the fence, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And as I love telling this story because I really wanted to be an orthodontist. But I said I didn't want to go to school all those years, but look at me now. I ended up going to school and spending time in the books
Wow.
anyway.
An orthodontist. Okay.
Right, right. But I took an internship in the hospital, and that's when I learned I didn't want to go into the health field or anything. But my very, very first job, I worked at Carl's Jr.'s, which is a restaurant here on the on the West Coast. I'm not sure if it's there on the East Coast. And I got my first W-2. I went home and I asked my grandmother if she would help me if she would do my tax return. And she said, "Baby, I need you to go get a pencil. We're going to sit down here and we're going to do this tax return together." So that's where it all started. And then I took a course in college, and I knew I had that spirit in me that I didn't want to continuously working for someone else, that 9 to 5 all my life. And so right out of college, probably about 3 years into it, that's when I really started doing income taxes, and that's when I turned it into a business, a lucrative business where I was generating additional income besides my 9 to 5, and I just learned to work it during those peak seasons, January through April, and even into May. And then it just blossomed. It began to grow. I began to add employees, and one thing led to another. So that's truly how I began this journey.
Wow, fantastic. Because, yeah, you started it very, very young, and that is awesome that you just kind of went right into it in college and just made a business out of it. So let's talk about that a little bit for those folks that love math, that love tax. What are some of the things that someone like yourself or someone who is brand new at it, if you kind of want to think back at your history of how you actually went out there and started your tax business and it really become lucrative? What are some of the things that you had to do just to get started to do that?
Absolutely. Very good question. Well, first of all, I made sure that I was certified, and I do know that in each state the requirements are a little different. I'm here on the West Coast in California, so I'm under those laws. But make sure you get your hours in. That's the very, very first thing. And if you're new, maybe you're not a financial, you don't have the financial background, I still say that most individuals that can read and follow instructions, ethical and integrity are important too, and honest, can really start a business such as taxation. Just get your hours in. Maybe if you feel a little bit uncomfortable or your confidence level is not up, work under someone's wing for a while until you build that confidence level up. But for myself, I jumped right into it. And I started doing just the basic, easy returns. And
Mhm.
year over year, as the confidence level increased, I
Mhm.
started doing the complex returns. And then before you know it, someone asked me to do a business return, and I was like, oh, my goodness. But I went ahead, and I stepped out on faith, and I did that business return. Why?
Mhm.
Because in corporate America, I was doing the same thing. I just had someone checking my work. So what I
Wow.
did on the business side, I had a mentor. I had a
Okay.
coach. I'd always lean to him and I say, hey, I have this return for the very first time. I'm going to need you to check it over. And he was on the other side of town. I'd send it to him and he'd always look it over. And then my business just really began to grow by word of mouth. I started exposing myself more. I started doing workshops during the what I call from November, really October to December. I started doing workshops for small business organizations, multi-level marketing organizations, Mary Kay, Princess House, those types of organizations. And what happened was I began to grow my business with small business owners. Then, word of mouth. And I don't think, that's how my business began to grow and develop.
Mhm.
I'm a numbers person, so I watch
Mhm.
the numbers grow. I watch my profit margins. I watch my sales grow year over year. And I knew once I started doing those workshops, that was it. And then I just started, I was in maybe 3 states, then I grew to
Mm.
6 states, then I
Oh, you're
grew
in
to
six
12
states?
states. Uh-huh.
What?
Well, right now I'm in about maybe 26 states. I did Vermont for the very first time
Really?
this week. I did Minnesota for the very first time this week, and I did
Wow.
New York today. So,
Oh my
yes,
goodness, I
I'm
had no
global. I
idea.
actually am global. I actually do.
Yeah.
I'm global. Mhm.
Wow, I'm gonna tell you that is very impressive. You leave me speechless. Okay, 26 states. I think you have more, reach than anyone that I've ever talked to in the financial and tax space. I'm telling you, it is unbelievable. It is. It is unbelievable that you have that and you're managing it all.
Yeah, and let me just say this again. Word of mouth. And I've had clients that have left here from California and have moved to other states. Texas is my second largest state where my client base is. And here's the funny thing: with today's technology, today's internet and whatnot, a lot of my clients we've never met face to face, but we've built that relationship. I'm in a, you know how you they say know, like, and trust. It is about that for me. That know, like, and trust. Trust
Mhm.
is key. Honesty, integrity, it's key.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I just building relationships. And if anyone out there knows anything about me, I think
Mhm.
collaboration, network are vital.
Oh,
They're
absolutely.
vital. It's
Absolutely.
vital. Once we meet someone, it's not about meeting them for that very first time. We have to grow that relationship, and a whole lot of things will come from it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you speaking nothing but the truth. I can't tell you how many times I've said those key words: collaboration, partnerships, putting the value in other businesses so that you can build your network. And every time you network with someone, you're actually networking with their network because you never know who you're going to meet. And it's like, and I always say it's like the Verizon commercial where you see the guy on the phone and he has all these people behind him and then they have people behind him and so on. Every time you collaborate and do stuff, you meet extraordinary people. You're put in extraordinary situations that you never dreamed that you would be in, but you can only do that if you just step up and say
Right.
hello. How you
Right.
doing? You got to do
Exactly.
that. So let me ask you a question. Okay, so why do they call you the financial physician?
Great question. Because I look at the situation, I diagnose the situation, and I examine and I just help individuals really save and really look at things a little different, their finances a lot differently. So I'm about going in, slicing up the situation, examining what is actually wrong, and finding a solution to it, managing the risk, improving performance, ensuring that there's growth and longevity with one's wealth.
Okay, and then did you come up with that term, or they just happened to call you the financial physician over time as you were going through this process?
Actually, let's say it was developed over time, and I think it. Let me just say this: it was the money coach, and that's what everyone used to call me, the money coach. And once I got the doctorate degree, then it just kind of switched. Oh, the financial doctor. So it's just something that people just started calling me, so I ran with it.
Okay. Now, do you do most of your coaching and workshops in person, or do you do them virtually and or through webinars or stuff like that?
I do a combination, but I do most of them face to face. I do most of my workshops face to face. Um, I just feel like that touch, that personal, that one on one, and I just think in my industry, people want that trust. They want to be able to have that confident conversation with you about their money. So it's in workshops, actual live workshops.
Okay. So give us some tips on, or maybe some best practices of what not to do with your taxes. We all know we're supposed to do our taxes and we follow certain rules in the books and things like that. But what are some of the common things that you see that could really be, avoidable in a tax situation that you find you have to constantly fix, particularly with small businesses who file their taxes or maybe have had their taxes done by another professional and things were missed. So, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes, perfect timing. To our small business owners, the key thing that I say to every business owner, it doesn't matter how small you are, if you are a solopreneur or if you are a brick and mortar shop and you have 10 employees, 2 employees, make sure that you are accurately tracking your financials on a monthly basis. I can't tell you how many times at the end of the year or the first month of the year in January, how many calls I get from business owners, small business owners, asking if I would do their books for 12 months, for the full year. That tells me that the business owner is not managing their money. That tells me that they have no idea where their cash is going. They don't know where they can improve their performance, their profit margins, growth, none of it. So, as a business owner, make sure that you are capturing your income and expenses, and we call that a P&L, profit and loss statement, each and every month. You are generating a balance sheet, and you are also using a statement of cash flow. Now, some business owners, maybe you feel like a statement of cash flow is useless for you or it's not beneficial to you, and that could potentially be, you know, a tool that maybe you don't use. But definitely you want to make sure that you're analyzing that P&L and that balance sheet. That balance sheet is going to tell you a lot about your assets. It's going to tell you how you're using your cash, and it's just going to help you grow. It's going to tell you if you're leaving money on the table. Maybe you're spending too much on social media ads. Maybe you're spending too much on, I don't know, entertainment. And you have no idea that you're spending this excess of money on these items until you really look at the numbers very closely. Hypothetically speaking, say you are putting too much into social media ads. You could take some of that money and hire an independent contractor, someone that's going to help you grow the business. You see, we as business owners, we try to wear too many hats. But if you're looking at your numbers, that may be one area where you're leaving money on the table. That's one area. Make sure, because at the end of the year, you want to be able to take your CPA, a profit and loss statement, so that it's easier for us to key that information into your tax return. In addition to that, as we're talking about taxes, make sure that you are accurately keeping your the records. Besides, maintaining a profit and loss statement, make sure you're maintaining accurate records where you can go and put your hands on them at any given time. Some key things that I constantly see and things that I know that the IRS flags and audits small business. Key things are your meals, your travel, your entertainment, and your automobile. Those are 4 areas that the IRS typically will audit a small business owner, and I'm going to say those again: travel, meals, entertainment, and your automobile. So make sure whatever you do, your records are maintained, really tight in those 4 areas. As far as your automobile goes, make sure that you're tracking your mileage, because if not, and they ask you to, if they call you in for an audit, they're going to ask you for maintenance records to see what was your mileage at the beginning of the year. They're going to ask for maintenance records to see what was your mileage at the end of the year. If you overstate it and they see January 1 through December 1, you drove 10,000 miles, but somehow in that return it shows a lot more, then that's a red flag, and they will disallow those, and you will end up paying.
Wow.
Meals, that's another thing. Make sure that you're educated. Ask your person that you're sitting down to educate you on the meals and entertainment, on the meals. Entertainment is another one. A lot of people think that they can just throw any entertainment in there, but you have to be very careful. And we're in 2018 right now. They passed a new law for small business owners or business owners as it relates to entertainment. So just make sure you do some research. Make sure you're knowledgeable on the entertainment, what the new law says that was passed December 2017, because it has an impact effective January 1 of this year, 2018. And travel, just make sure that you're tracking correctly. If you go home and say you're home for 5 days and 2 of those days were business, don't attempt to write off the full the trip as a business trip unless you can justify it. Two things that I say to every business owner as it relates to the IRS. If you're a business owner, you need to ensure that two things. If you're putting an expense in that return, make sure you can prove to the Internal Revenue Service that it is an ordinary expense and that it is a necessary expense. Prime example, I have a client, she has a yacht, she has a business where she constantly entertains. She put that yacht on the tax return. It was audited. She had to prove, is that ordinary and is that necessary? You know what it boiled down to? It was definitely necessary because that's what she used to entertain her clients, the yacht. She took them on a boat ride. So that was necessary. So little things like that, you just need to know. You need to know the laws. And I can tell you 9 times out of 10, if you know what you're doing when you go into an audit and you have the records to support, you can walk out scot-free. But if you go into an audit unprepared, they're going to get you. So those are just a few of the things that I say. I said that, the meals, the travel, entertainment, automobile, and just making sure you maintain accurate records. Those are key when you're going in to have your taxes done. Make sure as we approach the end of the year, you're maximizing and utilizing all the savings that you potentially can to reduce the amount that you will owe Uncle Sam. Tax planning is another one, mid-year tax planning. Make sure you sit with someone, your person, at the end of the year, really before, so that you can make shifts as we're heading into, the Q3, Q4. So just a few tips. There's a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really wonderful. And all of that you said really boils down to you need to have a tax professional and a lawyer together so that they can understand what's going on with their taxes and really understand what they can and cannot put in their taxes. I do hear a lot that, people are trying to throw any and everything but the kitchen sink into their taxes. I'm not sure if they're really getting that much in return when they're doing it, but maybe that's the reason why they're doing it.
They don't get that much. They don't get that much. I
I
mean,
didn't think so.
Even as small business owners, I get this. Can I put my clothes in? No, because that's not a uniform. There's a definition that the IRS uses for a uniform, and if you can wear that to church, you can wear that to a funeral, you can wear that to a job interview. That's not a uniform. It's not designated with the logo that identifies you as My Financial Home or anything like that. It's something that you can wear day to day. So just make sure accurate record keeping. I can't overemphasize that enough. And interview if you're not sure, or you're looking for someone to manage your books, because we can't wear all the hats. Interview individuals, ask for recommendations, make sure that they're educating you as the business owner. Just don't hire them and they take over your books. You should be responsible for asking the questions every month when they give you that profit and loss statement and that balance sheet. What can I do different? Where do you see where we're losing money? Where can we increase? Can we increase our pricing, so that we can have greater margins? Different things as business owners. But the other thing, don't hand everything over to the CPA or the accountant. You want to, but be in the know in your business. You want to be able to detect if there's some fraud, if there's some embezzlement, all of those things. Just because you're handling it or handing it over to someone to manage it for you, still be in the know. Still be in the know.
That's right.
And I'm going to tell you how to do that. There's these things called flash reports. I call them flash reports, and that's what I learned in corporate. And they're reports that you look at on a weekly basis, a biweekly basis, that help you determine if you're on target with your goals. So if your goal is to make $10,000 for the month, $20,000, even $5,000, $3,000, are you tracking how you're getting there? And that's the fun part of what I do. Are you tracking your sales? Are you tracking the calls that you're making? Are you tracking your sales? Are you tracking your no's? Do you know how many no's is going to take you to go through before you get a yes, to close a sale? So
Wow.
that's what I love doing.
And you know what? I would love to hear more of that because I mean my ears is like glued, right? And I'm pretty sure I'm serious because you really breaking it down to people so that they clearly understand, the good, the bad, the ugly. And it takes work, and like you said, we're trying to wear all the hats because as a small business, they're pretty much broke. They're trying to get their revenue going and they're trying to do their taxes themselves and they're trying to do their marketing themselves and all of that. But at some given point in time, you will have to sit down with an accountant. You're going to have to sit down with a lawyer and really get everything straight so that you know how to move forward. And like you said, just find someone who you trust to help you with that. And it is
Hmm.
so, so key. So I loved everything you said and thank you for sharing that. One of the things I
Absolutely.
want to also ask you, since we're getting halfway through, is that you're also the founder and executive director of Achieving My Dreams Foundation, which is a nonprofit that
Yes.
provides scholarships for graduating high school seniors. So, talk a little bit about that. So, now I'm curious about this organization and what you do there.
Yes, My Financial Home, as you said, it is a nonprofit organization. We give back scholarships to graduating high school seniors heading off to a 4-year university majoring in a STEM program. Of course, we know that science, technology, engineer, math, and of course, accounting. But you must be headed off to an accredited 4-year university with a 2.7 grade point average, and that's really it. We start the application process at the beginning of the year in January, and we are typically going through the award process late April, early May. So right after I'm
Hmm.
finished with tax season, we start looking at the applications and making decisions. So over
Okay.
the years, we typically give out 5 awards unless something happens, either the funds are not there, or either we didn't have sufficient students
Hmm.
submit applications. Those are the requirements. www.achievingmydreamsfoundation.org. That is
Mm.
the website. I will say this. I believe I'm down because I put a freeze on it for a particular reason, but that is the website. It'll be right back up in a couple of days. But achievingmydreamsfoundation.org is the name of the organization.
Fabulous, fabulous. And then on top of all of that wonderful stuff you're doing, you're also an author as well. So
Yes.
you have a book out there. Tell everybody the name of your book and how you come to the concept of writing it.
I love it. I love it. The book that's out now is Attracting the Best. Attracting the Best is 31 days of money affirmations, wealth, prosperity, and abundance. And I used to write affirmations, and I used to post them out there on social media. And I began to get a lot of likes and different comments on them. And so I decided um, when I began hitting the stage more often that I needed something to present to those that was in the audience. So I put together this book, and it's 31 Days of Affirmations from a biblical standpoint. You can journal in there. You can, after you've read a day, you can go in and write about how you feel, some of the things that you're going through mentally, and getting your money story together. So that is the book that's out. That came out in 2017, and I'm excited, really excited. My next book
Mhm.
will hit the stands May 14th of this year, 2018. So I'm really excited about the next book, Unveiling the Mask, and it's a story about my life,
Oh,
a
okay.
story about me, the financial struggles that I went through. I was in a domestic violence marriage, and I stayed in the
Mm.
marriage for close to 9 years, but 6 years into it, the domestic violence started, verbal abuse, substance abuse, and I got to a point where I really had lost everything, including my job. I lost my job, and I ended up on welfare. And I share my story loud and proud now because there's so many individuals that are out there suffering, and just how I bounced back. How I was able to rebound. When individuals look at me, they think, oh, I got it all together. That may be the case right now, but that wasn't the case years ago when I was going through what I was going through. So I share my story, the wounds, the black
Mhm.
eyes,
Oh
the
man.
bruises and all, and it's a guide for anyone who's suffering um, from what I say, on financial struggle road, and they want to get back on track. So it's a plan, it's a guide as to how I did it, and now I'm a successful business owner. My portfolio looks great. I have rental property and just so on. And so it's a story just to say, hey, you don't have to be stuck where you're at. It takes perseverance, it takes courage, but anyone can do it, man or woman.
Absolutely. And good for you. Good for you for even putting it out there and just showing people, hey, you can have all these things. You can even be in these situations, but you can always change. You can always make a choice. And my philosophy, how I live, is it doesn't have to be this way. You have a choice to make a change or decision of your life. And so I applaud you for that. Really, really do. And you also have another book, Smart Finances for Smart People, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Smart Finances for Smart People. It's a basic finance book for anyone who just wants some basic knowledge on finance, and um, you can definitely all you need to do, and I'll give you how you can download that for free. If you text the word finances, again, text the word finances to 805-719-7682. You can get a complimentary downloadable copy of the book. Again, text the word finances to 805-719-7682 for your free copy.
All right. You already know you're going to get my text message because I don't play. Because look, I'm a smart person, so I need smart finances, okay? So,
Yes, everybody
so
does.
I need to know how I could be even smarter. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody's giving
Exactly.
you some information, you need to be there. I know I'm there on point. So, okay. So we're going to have
I
this
say
number so
this.
that
I
people.
say if it's free, it's for me. So if it's free, I'm after it all day long.
Awesome, awesome. So, are you doing any workshops in the summer month when this podcast and people come out and listen? Are you involved in any activities that you would like people to know about that you're going to be doing this summer or at the end of the year or towards the end of the year?
Yes, let me just say this. For those of you that make it to Southern California, I am at the Microsoft store every third Friday of the month. So the third Friday of every month, you can catch me there at Microsoft West Century City. It's in Century City. Also, in the summer months, I will be holding a money series, and that's the third Saturday of every month, June, July, August, and September, and that will be held at All That and More Boutique Store. So I am partnering, and remember we said collaboration and network. I'm partnering with All That and More Boutique Store, and we're doing a money series, and that, again, that's the third Saturday of June, July, August, and September. And the information is out there on my personal website, and the personal website is CosetteMWhite.com. And I list all of the events that are going on this year, and if anything pops up, it will definitely be added to the events page.
Nice, nice. So, yes, I'm gonna tell you, you can't even put a dollar figure on the information that you share because it is that valuable, really. And I want people to rewind this podcast as many times as they can to get the information that you have shared on here, because if they don't get this information, something wrong. Okay, so we want people to really understand it, and I think that you have touched on something someone else said as well, as far as business taxes and individual taxes, but yours really went in depth, and I really want people to see that. Go to other podcasts, listen to those who are speaking the same language. Go to the one the year before where I have a financial person on there that also talked about a different perspective of business finance, and really understand how this is going to impact their business or an individual. It's just really important, and I appreciate you really sharing that information. So,
Thank you.
thank you so much again, Dr. White, for being a corporate sponsor for the BMWOC and supporting this effort. And it means so much more to me than you know. I'm telling you.
Thank you. It is my pleasure, my pleasure. I'm absolutely happy to do it.